Hello, welcome back. This is Sudhakar Moparthi, continuing our journey of crowdsourced AI project. Today, I'm going to continue with the AWS IAM service and show how we can use ChatGPT to learn much faster. So, let's get to IAM AWS service, IAM service documentation. Okay, we were looking at how IAM works. So today we're going to look at authentication and authorization. So it's kind of getting maybe boring, but you got to keep doing it until I nail down this path of learning. So I'm going to just copy this, go to ChatGPT. I need to convince you that this is the best method to learn things, and I'm going to publish a book based on these JSON creations, and I will compile them into a book format and I'll publish. So if you guys are interested to work with me on this book with this kind of format, uh, please get in touch with me. I'll be happy to work with you guys. All right. So I just copy paste. It's a very mechanical process at this point of time. I'm not reading, trying to understand or anything. So what is authentication? Okay. So there is some description, and we can get authenticated using root user, federated user, IAM user, workloads, etc. So now I'm just focusing on, oops. Okay. So it gave what is authentication. A principal must be authenticated using their credentials to send a request to AWS. Some services, such as S3, STS, allow a few requests from anonymous users. However, they are exception to the rule. Okay, so we don't have to worry about these exceptions right now. But basically, you have a root user, you open an account, you will have a root user. And then you can create a bunch of users. Those are IAM users. You can have federated users, authenticated by identity provider and granted access to AWS resources by assuming IAM roles. That's again, you see how cryptic it is for the first time if you are reading this thing. It's kind of complicated to understand what's going on here. So the federated user is nothing but if you have a third party identity like Google account, Facebook account, or your corporate directory, you log in into your corporate account, and you can use the same account, same user credentials to get access to AWS. That's what this federated means, so that you don't have to create again a whole bunch of IAM users. So that's what it means. Workloads use temporary credentials by being assigned a role, or use a long-term credentials by providing access key and secret key. Additional security information may also be required. Again, we'll see these things later. But you need to be authenticated who you are. All right, that's all it is. Okay, let's go back to that authentication, then authorization. Okay, so let's see. Create a JSON under authorization. Authorization. Well, it just put the entire thing under authorization, so that's not too much helpful. So let's recreate. Create the essence. All right, I'm going to worry about the spelling mistakes also. Essence of the text as a JSON. Authorization. AWS uses values from the request context to check for policies that apply to the request and determine whether to allow or deny it. Policies specify the permissions for principal entities and can be identity based or resource based. If a single policy includes a denied action, the entire request is denied. Requests are denied by default and are only authorized if every part is allowed by applicable policies. Okay, so authorization in summary is to um, find out whether a particular resource is authorized to be accessed and the operations are allowed or not allowed. So, so you need to be authenticated first, get into AWS, and then if you have the authorization to access, you can access. That's all it means. At this point, that's all you need to know, the difference between authentication and authorization. That's authentication using one of these identities. Authorization is the permissions that you may have to access the resources. That's not super helpful, just summarized in a paragraph, but I would, if I have to model this as a JSON object, I would create much more in detail. But for now, I will live with it. Okay, so let's go back. By default, all resource requests are denied. Okay, so it already summarized, all this what I'm about to copy paste. So I'm not going to do this. Okay, let me try one more time. Maybe, who knows, we may get some more insights. So let's see. Authorization. Wow, it gave summary of this. Okay, let's see. Default deny. Okay, by default, everything is denied. Explicit allow. Overrides default deny. Explicitly allow. So everything is denied except these resources that I can access. Organization SCP must allow request if exists. Permission boundary must allow request if exists. Session policy must allow request if exists. Explicit deny. Overrides all allows. Okay. This is certain things that we have to learn subsequently. For now, I'm going to just ignore noise. At the first cut, when I'm trying to master these things, these are all not very helpful. Okay, all you need to understand is the definitions, authorization, and authentication, and authorization. Okay, actions or operations. After your request has been authenticated, okay, where am I reading? Okay, let me just go and copy this. Because I need to find a pattern how I can use ChatGPT to learn fast. That's the test here. That's the kind of AI we are trying to build. Authentication. It again, it's giving me, okay, authentication and actions. After your request has been authenticated and authorized, AWS approves the actions. Okay, here I'm a little bit, I will have to do some more uh, modeling here and create a better JSON, which we will do it later. Okay. So for now, all I have to understand is basically, how do I create, delete, get, and update these users? These are the actions that I need to perform. Resources. So I'm just going with the documentation provided, to what extent I can understand very quickly. Create a JSON. Don't worry, I'm going to create much better um, JSON object eventually. But I'm generating these first cut, what ChatGPT is providing us, and then I will take that and then update it as part of our crowdsourced AI project. This looks like something interesting JSON that it is providing me. Okay, let it finish and then we will analyze. Okay, it stopped generating it probably because of the tokens. Um, okay, let's see whatever it has created. IAM. So again, it's giving me an overview. Features are these. This we have seen already uh, previously. Shared access, granular permissions, secure access, multi-factor authentication, identity federation, identity information for assurance, PCI DSS compliance. You see, they throw all these words, and we need to explore further. I mean, it takes time. But if you get stuck and then get fearful, oh, this is very complicated and all. No, it's not. Nothing is complicated. You just need to dig deep a little bit and then attach few more properties for this, and then we understand. Integrated with many AWS services, eventually consistent, free to use. Okay, so these are some of the features that they are just talking about AWS service of IAM AWS service. Accessing IAM, management console, command line, SDKs, HTTPS API. Oh, we have seen all these things. Okay, we don't need to repeat this. So all it is saying is basically, I guess they're summarizing it here to um, about this how IAM works. Okay, so let's jump into users in AWS. I'm going to stop after this. Okay, overview of AWS identity management users. Okay, so let's just take this. Do our thing. Security of IAM. Users. Description. Best practices. Okay, no big deal. All noise. I don't need to even observe too much. I already know. First time access. Okay, so basically first time access, root user credentials you have to use. And it's all noise. Again, they're saying just the same thing. So move on. We already know that. IAM users. You see, this is how they waste time by saying the same thing again and again and again. And we have to read all that text and waste our time. So I'm not gaining too much information there. Users. Okay. Hmm. 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 Interesting. 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 It's, if you're watching this video right now, you could just, it's self-explanatory. I mean, I don't have to explain too much. You know, all you have to observe is these properties. That's all. And the relationship. IAM users, they're just giving you some samples. Users. So is it a human or a machine? See here, DevOps app one workload. It's not a machine. It's a workload, some piece of code running somewhere with some credentials. It will access the AWS resources and manipulate those resources. Again, these are all machines, and this is a human user. And then I can temporarily give access to this, or I can give them for a longer term. That's all the essence here. So that I can give them temporary access, and I can also give a long-term access to these applications or humans. All right, let's move on. AM users. Okay, yeah. Okay, there is some example here. As you could see, DevApp 1, DevApp 2, it took federating existing users. Okay, let's take this. federating existing users. So, like I said earlier, it's basically if you already have an identity, you can connect that identity to a AWS IAM service user, you know. So that's nothing but federation. You join into the federation. All right. Next. Corporate directory. Okay, so this is corporate directory. So just for this, for 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 completion, I'm just going to check out that documentation and then create. What is it? Create JSON. Okay, so I need to give a better prompt. Create a JSON. Create a JSON with essential content. Okay, let's see. Corporate directory. SAML 2.0 compatible. True. Non-SAML compatible. Identity broker access. True. Microsoft Active Directory. AWS directory service. True. Okay, so it just provided me some sort of JSON, some more intelligence, I guess, from ChatGPT. But all I can get from this is basically if I have a corporate directory where I already have an identity, I'm logging into my corporate account and I can use that, connect that to my AWS. I don't have to create again one more user. That's all it is saying. And there is a compatibility. What are allowed? Which version of that protocol is allowed is what it is providing me here. So if I have a corporate directory which is SAML 2.0 compatible, then I would be able to access the AWS console. Non-SAML compatible, SSO access to AWS to identity broker access to. Anyway, we don't have to understand right now. Microsoft Active Directory, AWS Directory Service. Okay, you can use AWS Directory Service when we see other services. One of them is AWS Directory Service, which can directly access if we set it up, then it can access Microsoft Active Directories. Okay, that high level understanding is good enough right now. Your users already have internet identities. Okay, so let's see what it will summarize. Internet identities mean that Google account, Amazon account, this on. Existing corporate directory compatible with SAML 2.0. Okay, so every time it gives a different error. Okay. Regenerate response. Only one message at a time. Please allow any other responses to complete before sending another message. Okay. All right. That's good enough for today. And with that, we have completed the documentation of how IAM works, users in AWS, After all this, all it is saying is there are users, policies, and then they are interconnected, all these entities. And then when we actually log in into an AWS account, we can just create those objects and provision those users and those resources. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for your patience. It's long sometimes, it's broken, it's slow, you may get bored, but be patient. It's coming. I'm going to compile this into a concise one and edit it. These are the videos that I just want to put out there, at least one a day. And I will try my best to put one video a day. And then when I edit it, when I get these things edited, then there will be compact, and then we will be able to move faster. Thanks for your patience. And if you are interested to work with me on this kind of project to completely document the AWS services documentation into JSON formats and look at the JSON objects and then just get those conceptual idea, ignoring the data and not to worry about the data, only the conceptual matters or really matter. And then we go into the practical aspect of it and then just create these resources in AWS wherever it is possible for us for practice purposes so that we can reinforce our concepts. And that's the methodology I'm going to apply to quickly bring a new AWS developer or practitioner or an architect or a designer, cloud computing or whatnot. These concepts are very much important uh, to master. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for your patience. Take care. Bye bye.